Hey guys, this is Mike Madano, and you're listening to Sarcastic Remarks on 365 Sportscast Radio Network.
Hey Chris, how's it going?
Howdy.
Welcome back to Sarcastic Remarks, episode 2 on our new radio show. Episode 1 went really well, so we'll see how this one goes, right?
Yeah, I think it went well. I mean, I don't know.
I don't know. All right, we got a lot to talk about. Unfortunately, some bad stuff and, more adversity. It's not like the Stars faced enough adversity in the playoffs and in the bubble and all sorts of other stuff. Now they got to face even more adversity.
Yeah.
So last Saturday, the Stars were shut down after 6 players and 2 staff members tested positive for COVID-19. So the NHL decided to go ahead and postpone the first 3 games of the season. And right now it looks like Dallas is currently expected to start their season January 19th. What's your first thoughts on that?
That's not good. And why does everyone else get hockey except us? It's big sad. I think I saw, didn't the number rise to 17 Stars players?
Right. So after they finally did all the rest of the testing and stuff, it came out to be 17 Stars players that tested positive for the virus. So, wow.
Yes. I mean, I thought like they had to do testing and quarantining before they went in. So I'm kind of confused as to how that even occurred, but.
Right. And from the sounds of it, Bill Daly, the deputy commissioner of the NHL, he's basically second in charge under Gary Bettman. It sounds like they're still trying to figure out where it even came from. Like they still have no idea where it came from.
Yeah, that's strange.
So they're still doing contact tracing and they're still doing all that sort of stuff to try and figure out what's going on, and it still continues to be an issue for the Stars. And, let's think about it this way. With these players testing positive, even though most of them have said that they're asymptomatic and everything, this makes me think about St. Louis. So one of the things that they talked about before the bubble playoffs start is that they had a huge outbreak in their team, and a lot of their team members were still kind of trying to get over COVID, and that it was a significant factor in, why they might have lost to Vancouver. Do you think the Stars are at a disadvantage with all these positive tests? Do you think that affects their either physical finesse, their fitness?
I think they're at a disadvantage, but not because they're sick, really. It's more because they're starting behind everybody else. So when they start, other teams are going to have played like 5 games already. So that could be a big deal in trying to get back to normal hockey speed. And in the shortened season, a slow start is a terrible thing. It's even worse than last season. So if we do the same thing we did last season with 7 games with no regulation wins, then we're not going to make the playoffs. We don't have enough time to make it back. So it's especially important for us to get a good start here, and this is definitely not going to help.
So this is the statement that the National Hockey League released about COVID-19 testing results during training camps. So the NHL concluded its 2020-2021 formal training camps for the 31 teams with a total of 27 players with confirmed positive test results for COVID-19 among 9 different clubs. The results included 17 players on the Dallas Stars, most of whom are asymptomatic and all of whom are currently recovering without complication. During the 2-week period from December 30th to January 11th, players were tested on a daily basis with a total of approximately 12,000 tests administered in excess of 1,200 NHL players. So out of the 27 players that tested positive from December 30th to January 11th, 17 of them were Dallas Stars players.
That's bad.
I know. I thought they had protocols for all of this, and that's why they that's what they were doing, and that's why it took so long to get the NHL season going. But either a protocol wasn't followed, or it could just be a freak accident, and just
Yeah, well, I
something
mean,
happened.
like when I got sick, I didn't know anybody who had it. I figured I must have gotten it from work, but like when I'm at work, I'm wearing my mask, the customer's wearing their mask, and we're always 6 feet apart, and none of my coworkers had it, so it's just weird sometimes. Like you can't really you can do your best to prepare for it, but like there's no guarantee.
Right. So, well, we'll just have to wait another week, unfortunately, before we can get some Stars hockey going. So
Yeah, this was supposed to be the day before the first game, and that would have been sweet, but whatever.
right.
Instead, it's stupid and lame, and we have to wait longer.
I know, right? And
This podcast sucks.
so far, it sucks. Well, at least it doesn't suck as much as the Chicago Blackhawks just did against the Tampa Bay Lightning. I just finished watching that game, 5-1.
Yeah, just in case everybody thought that the old guys from Chicago were gonna do good again. No.
I know a lot of people don't like Patrick Kane, but I really feel bad for him because he's still an elite player and he's playing on a really crappy team.
Well, it's his own dang fault. He should leave the team.
He's not gonna want it. Would you want to leave the same team that you played for your whole career and won 3 Stanley Cups with?
I mean, if they're that bad, yeah. I mean, jeez.
Well, anyways, so they were shut down on Saturday, and they were shut down Saturday, Sunday, and Monday.
The Stars are shut down, not the Blackhawks.
The Stars are shut down, yes, not the league, just their training camp, trying to figure out the contact tracing and see who else was having some issues. So they finally were able to get back onto the ice on Tuesday morning at Co-America Center in Frisco with several players missing, and it seemed to be a step in the right direction if they were looking for some sort of normalcy. So the league also was in charge of releasing any kind of information about all of this, and that was something that was made very clear from the very beginning. Most people figured it was going to be COVID related when they mentioned that practice was going to be canceled for Saturday and beyond, indefinitely. And but the league doesn't explain why a player might not be available for a practice or a game. They just simply list them as unfit. So I really thought we were going to get like a list of the players that did test positive. But as of 10:39 on Wednesday night, we still haven't gotten a list.
Yeah, it's kind of annoying for us, honestly, because like, I mean, what's the point in leaving the fans in the dark? But I'm sure like this was like a thing agreed to by the players, like they wanted this, so I guess there's a reason behind the scenes that we don't see. But as fans, it's kind of annoying. But... Agreed.
But kind of at the same time, I understand. Why they might not be telling us, because
why?
I mean, do we really need to know?
But like why shouldn't we know though? Like,
right. I guess it could go either way, that question. And it's just like, do we really need to know, and then why shouldn't we know? Because I mean, we are putting our money into these teams. So
not even just that, just like, well, what's the point of not telling us? Like, we're going to speculate about it if you don't tell us. So,
well, what's funny is that I think Tuesday was the first day that Anton Hudobin was actually able to get out onto the ice.
Yeah, that was strange.
For the Stars.
When I first saw that they shut down practice, I was like, dang it, Dobby, he brought it in. But no, he didn't do it, so.
And blame it all on Dobby.
Yeah.
Well, he actually mentioned that over the break between the end of September and the when he came back to the States for the season, he actually got COVID.
Yeah, he already had it.
Yeah, so he's already had it. So he's at this point he's got the antibodies for it. But anyways, so
well, I heard him.
with-
I heard him talking about like he had it kind of bad. Like when he would climb stairs and stuff, he'd be winded and all that
Right.
stuff. So it meant like that didn't sound fun. That
Yeah,
didn't happen
so-
to me. I just was sick.
Yeah. So honestly, how did you feel? Did you try to do anything like?
I mean,
cardio-wise?
I wasn't like tired. Like some people described it like you would walk to different rooms of your house and you would be winded. But like I never got that tired. I was just like I wanted to take a nap all the time. And
So
my
just
nose
extreme
wouldn't stop
fatigue.
running. Yeah, but like it wasn't like to the point where I couldn't walk to the toilet or anything. But
Mhm.
but it seems like a lot of people have that problem. So hopefully that's not the kind of strain that's going around the Stars camp. That would be bad.
Well, I mean, it does say in the in that statement from the NHL that most of them were asymptomatic.
Yeah.
So what it sounds like is that they were maybe expecting a couple to test positive based off of the symptoms that some of them had, and then it was just like this rampant, just everybody's got it, and most are asymptomatic. So, anyways, so where I was getting with this is these were the players that actually were able to come back to practice on Tuesday. So they didn't come in contact with any of these 17 players that did test positive. So among these, oh wait, hold on, no, I gotta find that list.
You lost it?
Yes, I lost.
How
it.
did you lose it? Well, anyway.
Okay, so anyway, let me talk about this. I do have the list of the players who didn't practice. Let's just do that first.
Yeah, that's way easier.
And we have no idea if these guys, came in direct contact, if they're quarantined, if they actually have it. So these are the guys that were not practicing on Tuesday. So Jason Dickinson, Justin Dowling, Roddick Foxa, Rhett Gardner, Yoel Kiviranta, Jason Robertson, and then defensemen Taylor Fadoon, Joel Hanley, Thomas Harley, which I don't know if Harley was because of the outbreak. I think it was just because he was at the World Juniors and he's quarantining from the World Juniors because that's the protocol that the NHL put in place. So along with Thomas Harley, Heiskanen, which hurts, Honka, Esa Lindell, Jamie Alexiak, and Mark Pysyk. So
it's a lot of defensemen.
Yeah. I mean, that's what,
All of
Esa,
them.
Miro, Alexiak, Pysyk is probably in the top 6 defensemen.
Well, I mean, it doesn't really matter who's in the top 6 as long as they. It seems like they're all going to be fine, from what they said. They didn't sound very alarmed in the statement. So whoever has it, I don't think it's a big deal. But it's a lot. That just means it's going to take a while to get everyone back to practice, which would be bad and might lead to a bad start to the season, which would be double bad because of the short season.
Right. So that's the other thing that's mentioned in the article. But so this week, rosters were supposed to be finalized, for the actual roster for the taxi squad, which is new this year because of COVID stuff, sending players to the AHL, to waivers. And the Stars weren't able to do any of that because they shut down their practice and they weren't able to do any of that stuff. So we're in this kind of weird, like limbo situation. I mean, they haven't released an opening night roster. There's no idea of who's going to be on the taxi squad. I think there might have been something on Twitter, but it's not fully confirmed yet.
Yeah. It's like everything stopped. Like the Stars aren't a team right now.
I know, it's weird. It is like really weird. So here's another question, I guess, that goes for other teams. Do you think this is going to happen to other teams over the course of the season?
Well, I mean, obviously, I hope not, but I think it's bound to happen. Like, if you look at the sports that did play during this time, college football, NFL, MLB, they all played outside of bubbles, and they've all gotten outbreaks. So I think definitely it's bound to happen, which leads to the other question, the kind of morbid question, but like, is it better that they all got sick at the beginning of the season instead of the middle? So that's, I don't want to answer that question because that's a weird question, but maybe it's good. Who knows? But
well, you were just saying that in order for the Stars to do well, every game is gonna feel like a playoff game because one, you're playing in series, basically like MLB style, where you're playing 2 or 3 games against the same opponent over a course of maybe 2 or 3 days, maybe back-to-backs, maybe there's a day of rest in between or whatever. But you have to have a fast start in order to make the playoffs in this awkward COVID season.
What would be worse than not getting a fast start is to get a COVID outbreak when you're on a 6-game winning streak. So there's a flip side to the coin there, but yeah, the COVID stuff could definitely lead to some very weird situations in hockey and could really lead to some teams getting screwed over, I think.
Yeah. It just seems like this stuff is bound to happen. I mean, when you think about all the other stuff that's happened among other sports this year, and obviously the one I'm thinking about is the Denver Broncos, and like all their quarterbacks were either quarantined or had COVID, and they started a practice squad wide receiver who played quarterback, I think, in high school as their starting quarterback. I think that's something that the NHL is trying to not let happen. But we'll see. So
I think it'll be fine. Famous last words.
Exactly. So right now it seems like that 3 of the Stars games are going to be postponed, possibly 4. But
yeah, I think if they do, I think they're just going to do 4 and just cancel it like based on the series. So they're just going to cancel the first 2 and the second 2, but then we'll play the next series against Tampa, right?
I think so.
That's
right,
probably what's going to happen. When is it? 21st? 21st? Is 21st Florida or Tampa?
I think
21st is Florida. Or it's 22nd. Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, 22nd.
22nd against Florida at home is what I heard the start time would be. As long as no more people get the Rona.
Yep. Okay, so I'm kind of looking through this article about that Mike Heika put up on DallasStars.com, and it does say that Dallas was actually very surprised because they had been following every protocol that had happened.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, you can be as cautious as you want to be, but like, it's not. And in the end, it doesn't really matter. Like, if it's gonna get you, it's gonna happen. There's nothing you can really do about it.
Yeah, which I mean, it really sucks, and it's just it's gonna push us back for a week. So we'll see how the Stars,
just another thing they have to react to.
Right, great, yeah. Okay,
this is a fun podcast. This one's fun. This is fun, everybody.
Sarcastic. Okay, so let's talk about one of the articles on DallasMorningNews.com that who is it? Matthew DeFranks?
Yeah.
Matthew DeFranks. And it's a great question that we should consider because we've talked about it a lot, but he kind of goes into depth a little bit more about it. So his number 3 question out of his 10 questions facing the Stars this season is number 3: how will Anton Khudobin fare as a full-time starter in goal for the Stars? So I've kind of talked about this a little bit. So Khudobin has been a very good goaltender. He is not a, elite level goaltender. He's no Carey Price.
Hey, I don't know about that. NHL.com ranked him in the top 10. Like, that's legit.
Yes, but for this upcoming season, they did. So I don't, or was that the fans? Was it the fans that did it?
That was NHL.com.
Okay. I thought it was the fans that did it. But anyways, so he's never really been proven as a number 1 starter, like as the guy. He's always been like in a really good tandem or as a backup. So, and he's put up good numbers over his career. It's just, that's a great question to ask. What do you think?
Well, I mean, so we could look back to Dallas, to 2018-2019 season. That was when Ben Bishop was hurt for a long portion of the season. So he played 41 games. That's about half the games in the season, and he was under 500 in those starts. So that's not a good sign. And then you can go back to Carolina, where he also played a lot. And in 2014, 2015, he was way under 500. He had 8 wins and 17 losses. And the year before that, he had 19 wins and 14 losses. So historically, when Hudobin has to play a lot, it's not great. But, I mean, last season, he played 30 games. This is including playoffs. And he had 16 wins and 8 losses. So
That's pretty good.
that's nuts. No, that's not including playoffs. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not including playoffs.
Okay, so and the Stars played what, 69 games, 70 games because of the pause. They didn't get to finish the season.
Yeah,
so he played about a little less than half. So maybe.
But when you look at his stat line, that season's very obviously an outlier, right? So like that's not what normally happens. So hopefully he turned a leaf. But I mean, it's a tough thing to have to bank on because we need it too. We need to be good as soon as we start playing games. We can't wait for him to settle into a starting role.
Right. So it looks like Hudobin is going to be the starting goaltender for the first 2 months, and it looks
he definitely is going to be.
Yeah, it looks like that Bishop won't be back until
around March,
mid to late March.
Yeah.
So we'll have to
pray.
We'll have to see. So.
And hey, if Hudobin's bad at starting goalie, then maybe this COVID thing's a good thing. You never know.
So, I mean, can you imagine if he had not re-signed with the Stars with that 3-year contract?
Well, we obviously, now that we know that,
they would have gone out and gotten somebody else.
Well, now that we know that Bishop was hurt, it would have been obvious to us that Hudobin was going to get re-signed. Like, you can't. That would be a waste of a season, honestly. If you're going to put Ottinger in there, it would take a miracle. You'd have to get so lucky. So if we had known that Bishop was going to be out for the beginning of this season too, it would have been an easy choice to re-sign Hudobin for as much as we did.
Well, and he did get a raise despite there being a pandemic and everything.
Oh, he deserved a raise.
He definitely deserved a raise based off of his playoff performance. That's it. So on top of that, here's some of his stats in the postseason. So he had a .917 save percentage, which is above league average, and then he had a 2.69 goals against average, which that's
nutty.
So
against high scoring teams like Tampa, Colorado, Calgary. Yeah.
Well, and here's the funny thing though. When you think about it, Hudobin had not started a playoff game before August. He had not started one single game before August. And then he took the Stars all the way to the Stanley Cup final. How crazy.
Maybe that was a secret. Maybe just nobody knew that he was a playoff monster. So now he's just our secret weapon. We just play Bishop in all the regular season games and then Dobby in all the postseason games. That's the true tandem.
So the nice thing about the schedule as well is that even though that Bishop is hurt and we have Hudobin and Ottinger as our likely tandem, it seems like there's not a ton of back-to-backs for the Stars compared to some other teams, especially in the first half.
We got lucky.
Yeah,
we got pretty lucky, I think. So I still believe in my man's Jake, though. I think he's going to be fire.
Oh, hold on. You're getting ahead of us. I'll ask you about that here in a second.
Fire.
Fire. So before we get to Ottinger, the one question, another question I have about Dobby is, when players get into their 30s, they typically are more injury prone and they take more injuries. But luckily for the Stars, it seems like Hudobin's been able to stay healthy.
Yeah, he hasn't really been hurt since he's been a Star. I can't think of a time he has been.
Mm-mm.
So
kind of
strange.
Hopefully, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, hopefully he keeps doing that. That'd be nice.
Yeah, so honestly, the Stars don't make it into the Stanley Cup final without Anton Hudobin in net. If it had been Ottinger, you know, you got to love our little rookie buddy, but he wouldn't have stood a chance against,
Hey,
even Vegas.
hey, you don't know that. You don't know
I don't know.
nothing.
Maybe he would have pulled off a miracle like a Jordan Bennington kind of situation, but I just didn't see it.
Yeah, he would have.
So hopefully Hudobin can kind of carry this team on his back and lead them back to the playoffs again. So, all right. So here's the other half of the question that it's not really mentioned in the article, but talk about your boy Ottinger, what you're expecting from him and what you are hoping to see from him.
I mean, I think he could be freaking awesome. I mean, we look at his first year as a full starter in the Texas Stars down in Cedar Park. Right? Is that right? I don't know. Tell me about it, Austin Knights. Well, anyway, he had a .257 goals against average and a .917 save percentage in 38 games.
And what was his win-loss?
Yeah, I can't find it. It's not on NHL.com.
Really? That's funny.
Yeah, but yeah. I mean, the Texas Stars weren't a great team this year either. But
right.
The fact that he's got those numbers with not an awesome team is pretty fantastic.
So, okay.
So in summary, sorry, I'll summarize that.
Okay.
Ottinger, good.
So here's my only issue with the Stars and with
we know you have lots of issues with the Stars, Ryan.
Yeah, well, because I just want them to do well, and
So you're gonna talk about how bad they are, okay?
Yes.
Okay.
So, but we haven't had a really good goaltending prospect since Mike Smith.
Who's Jack Campbell? Not Jack Campbell. Who was it? Whoever Campbell was, whatever his first name was.
Jack Campbell. You were right. You were right.
Ha ha!
Now
he was good, and we squashed him like a bug.
Well, and he just wasn't working out for the Stars at all.
We just wouldn't let him play in the NHL because we're a bunch of pansies.
But we also had Philip Desrosiers, who never really panned out at all either, and I think he's still down in the minors, playing down there.
That wasn't a big one.
No, he was still seen as a possible goaltender of the future.
That was like a possible, though, not even a.
Yeah, right. So, and then, now good for Jack Campbell. He after he got traded to Los Angeles, he got traded from Los Angeles to Toronto, and he looks like he's going to be the backup for Toronto. So, good for him. But again, he's still a backup. He's not a starter. That role still belongs to Frederik Andersen. And I was listening to the Steve Dangle podcast. Was it this morning or yesterday? And they don't seem to think that Freddie Andersen is that good of a goaltender. And that Jack Campbell may steal more games away from him. And I'm just like, I don't know how I feel about that. So
I think it's very likely.
That's my only problem with goaltending prospects in the Star system. So maybe this is different. Maybe maybe Ottinger is different. I don't know. But anyways, he's going to have to play more than the Stars will want him to, just because of the back-to-backs later on.
And I think that's good. That's a good thing. That's the reason Jack Campbell became Garbo, because we didn't even give him a chance. Like, if we give this guy his shot in the NHL, I think he's got a big chance of doing it. He's a big guy. He can move fast. His pads are quick. I mean, he seems like the real deal. And let's not forget, he is the highest save percentage and goals against average in NHL history right now.
He's perfect.
He is perfect. He went in 2 games and no pucks went in the net.
Right.
So
1,000 save percentage.
He is perfect.
Right.
He's going to keep it going all throughout next season.
All right. Oh, man, my phone's blowing up.
No, it's not. All right, what's the next topic? Quit looking at your phone.
I'm looking at my phone because it's all the Corey Perry fan club people that are
Look
talking
at the
smack.
next topic.
So I just had to double check. Chill. Calm down. Well, anyway, so here's our next topic. So along with the Anton Hudobin question that Matthew DeFranks has got up on Dallas Morning News, he's got the number one question facing the Stars this year. What do you think that is?
Well, I know what it is, so I don't think I should be allowed to guess.
Oh, come on. I was setting you up. You're supposed to take it. Stupid.
I'm not a liar.
Okay, so anyway, so the question was, what is the Stars' response after their run to the Stanley Cup final? So that feels like an obvious question. Now, my first thought is when I see that question is, I don't want to be the Nashville Predators. And do you know what I mean by that?
Yeah, they suck now after they were good.
Right, exactly. So they had PK Subban. Pekka Rinne was playing out of his mind. They had Victor Arvidsson. They had Ryan Johansson. They had Philip Forsberg with all of these points, all these goals. And then Smashville made the Stanley Cup final, lost, and ever since then, they've been in decline. Now, that's the only thing that I'm really scared about right now, is that was the peak. Do you think that was the peak?
I don't think so. Because like I said, and that you always refute, all we need is one thing to go right. We need one break. We've had a billion bad breaks, but all we need is one. We need Roope Hintz to be good, or we need Gurianov to be good, or we need Heiskanen to be out of his mind, or we need Jamie Benn to play good, or we need Pavelski to play good, or we need to play, or Radulov to play good. Like, if one of those things happens, if one player decides to play to the caliber that they can play to, we're going to be a great team and an obvious cup contender.
But what if we need all of those?
You don't need all of those. You need one. You think about how good our defense was in the postseason. The reason we went so far was because each game a different guy would step up and do it. And I'm saying if we just have one,
good point.
It was one guy. Like Pavelski took over that game 6. Like Corey Perry won us a game. He's bad.
Game 5 in the Stanley Cup final. Mm-hmm.
But like, we don't need the whole team to have this great dynamic offense. We need one guy to step up and score a bunch of goals. Like, if one guy's a 30-goal season, we're going to be nutty. We're going to be the best team in the league, maybe. And like, we have so many guys who have that potential to do that I think like we have very good chance of it happening.
Okay, so we already talked about two players who we think need to step up. And we talked about Jamie Benn on the last show. And we already talked about Anton Hudobin today.
Anton Hudobin.
Sorry. Anton Hudobin. Words are hard. Besides those two guys, who do you think probably needs to step up more than anybody?
Radulov. Because if he doesn't, he's going to lose his job. Like, I legitimately think if he doesn't do something this season, like really do something other than score a couple hat tricks, like he's going to be on the hot seat. So I hope for our sake that we get to see more Sellies, and for Rad's sake that he gets to stay on a good team.
So are you more optimistic about this upcoming season or pessimistic?
For Rads specifically?
Just for the team in general.
For the team in general.
Rad, and for Rads. Go ahead and say it for Rads too.
Throwing so many questions at me at the same time. Okay. So for Rads, I'm pretty pessimistic. I don't think Rads is getting better. And so I don't see the kind of work ethic he has. I know that's not the kind of player he is. He kind of sneaks into the right spots and takes his shots when he gets them. But like, it just doesn't seem like he's really mentally geared up to get better in this playoffs. The same way like Jamie Benn has been, and Gurianov and Hintz and Heiskanen. So I'm not real optimistic about Rads, but for the Stars, as everyone who's been listening to this podcast can tell, I am very optimistic. Like everyone says, we're garbage and we don't have any goal scoring. All we need is one player to do good. We need one lucky break. We've had so many unlucky breaks. Everybody's been injured. Everyone has the Rona now. We don't get to watch hockey now. So we just need one good thing to happen. One. Oh, I forgot our coach is a drunkard. Forgot about that one. Whoops.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, okay. One thing has to go good. all this bad stuff happened, and we went to the Stanley Cup Finals. Like, if one good thing happens, we're just gonna take President's Trophy. We're gonna take the cup. We're gonna hand heart trophies to everybody. Everyone's MVP. Like, one good thing needs to happen to the Stars. It's not fair.
We're gonna give the Hart Trophy to Jamie
everybody.
Benn.
No, to everybody.
Trophy. And then Norris Trophy's gonna go to Heiskanen, and then Hudobin's gonna get the Vezina. All Stars everywhere.
Yeah, the All-Star team is going to be the Dallas Stars, and that's it.
Exactly. I mean, it starts in the name, duh, right? Okay, so let's look on the optimistic side. So on the optimistic side,
I said the optimistic side.
I know, but here's some reasons people may be optimistic on top of all of this stuff, why this team will do good again. So they didn't really change the team, right?
I mean,
which is a good thing.
We don't got a Corey Perry, and we don't got a Tyler Seguin.
Well,
and we don't got a Ben Bishop. I mean, that's not really our fault, but like, we don't got him.
Okay, so other than Corey Perry, the other two are still on our team. We just didn't change anything.
They just ouchied.
Okay? Yeah, they're just ouchie. So, and then they still have the goaltender that led them to the playoffs. And then they also brought back the head coach that took them to the Stanley Cup final. So those are all reasons to be optimistic about that. And then really the only big signing that the Stars had this past season was Mark Pysyk. And I think the reason why he was signed is because he's a very good utility player. He can play defense and offense. So he can play center, left wing, right wing. He can also be a defenseman. Mostly he's been a defenseman, but he can play all of it. So here's an interesting stat that Josh Sanders put up on the Corey Perry group on Facebook, and I thought this was really interesting. So, and I'm almost positive he got it from this article, probably. But in this article, it says no team has won more playoff games than the Stars in the past 2 seasons. Isn't that kind of wacky?
Because we're ballers,
right? So
the Stars is good. We is good.
So okay,
that's what that means.
Okay, so you're talking about this team. This is not a one-time thing. But us losing in the Stanley Cup final, that was a step. Does that mean over the next 2 years, if we don't get the cup, or if we don't make the Stanley Cup final, is the year viewed as a loss?
Yes.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. Like, if we went to the Stanley Cup Finals this year, like, conference final might be, but like, you have to at least get to the conference final and take it to 7. I feel like almost like with the team we have, especially when Bishop and Seguin are back. If we get lucky and we don't get hurt the same way that the Lightning did, we should be in the Stanley Cup playoff. I mean, that's it. I mean, that's what the Stars want the expectations to be. That's what the franchise, that's where they wanted the expectation to be at. They wanted to move out of mediocrity, like they said, and they have. Their expectation is Stanley Cup.
Well, and they completely changed their identity. They were an offensive first team that scored a bunch of goals and relied on their offense to do all the work. And Jim Nill decided, I don't care if we finish first place in the division. We're going to build this team like a playoff team. So he went more physical, and he's done that. But here's a not so good stat. So since the NHL WHA merger, so that's the
like
it was back
50
in
years ago.
It was 1979. It wasn't that long ago, although it was kind of long.
Yeah, that's almost 50 years, boo.
It was 40. Almost 40. It was over 40.
Over 40.
So, anyways, all right. Anyways, we're arguing about the years, and that's not even what
the decade after 40?
What?
50.
Shut up. So, anyways, only 2 teams have lost the Stanley Cup and then returned to the final the following year. So, both teams won the cup after that. So, if we make the Stanley Cup final,
we're gonna win.
Then the stat is in our favor. But it's only happened twice. So it was the 2008-2009 Penguins. So
I
they
remember
lost
that.
and then it was the 1983-1984 Oilers.
I don't remember that.
Well, I would hope not. I don't remember that either.
I
Neither one of us were
I
born.
was dead.
You
Well,
weren't dead. You just didn't exist.
I was anti-alive,
And
which most people would
I'm
call
gonna
dead.
start using that and put memes about that anti-live.
Yeah, because you're such
Okay.
a meme lord, Ryan.
Yes, I am. Yes, because you see all the memes I make on this on all the channels, right? So I guess you could look at that in a positive light. Actually,
So.
that. Oh my goodness, my phone is going crazy. Anyways, so I guess you could look at that stat in a positive light. In after all, so maybe we just say we make the Stanley Cup final, we win the Stanley Cup. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
How about that?
I mean, the expectation is there. That's what we feel like needs to happen. And if it doesn't happen, it's a disappointment. But
Yep.
I think we should also preface even if that doesn't happen, that doesn't mean the team's going to go into a deep 5 to 8 year rebuild. The young players we have are outstanding. And that's why it's so exciting right now, because we have older guys that still can play at a high caliber, and we've got younger guys coming up that are fantastic as well. That's why it feels like this is the right time for it to happen. We got a good combination of guys right now. But
Right.
if it doesn't happen, it doesn't mean we're gonna whine and moan about us not being good for 5 years and how we need to blow up the team. If anyone tells you that, we'll whine, but we won't say we won't say that they need to blow up the team, because they don't. We've got great pieces and we've got great development players. So we want it to happen this year, and we feel like it should. That's where the expectation should be. But if it doesn't get there, there's no blowing up the team. So if anyone tells you that, they're just trying to get you to read their article.
Right. Okay, Chris, it's time.
Time for what?
It's time for your segment of the week. This is Chris's.
Oh.
You've got to be kidding me.
Well, we're
Chris, what are you going to rant?
We're
about
in
today?
two smaller. You've got to be kidding me. So
Okay.
So it's January. We went October, November, and December with no hockey, and now we still get no hockey. You've got to be kidding me. Why? I just want to watch hockey, dude. It was the 2 games today stunk too. I didn't watch the third game, but the Penguins and Flyers, the Penguins just threw the game away. Those
right.
Why they do that? And then the Lightning and what? Who decided that we were going to have the Lightning play Chicago on national television?
It's all about ratings.
Let's get our great product out there of watching Chicago get demolished over and over again. Why?
Okay.
Why can't we just watch the Stars?
Chicago has probably
Chicago sucks. They're garbage. They're garbage.
Are you going to let me talk?
Maybe.
Chicago has one of the biggest fan bases nationwide, and then also you've got the Stanley Cup champions.
Chicago's fan base sucks too. They all suck. If you watch the Chicago Blackhawks, you probably suck. I'm sorry. And that's just a fact. That's scientific. I studied it. All right, so that was the first one. The second one, I guess I kind of already talked about it, but so they raised their banner. The Lightning did, and it was stupid and ugly and blue. So that was dumb. I didn't like that. You've got to be kidding me. I don't want to see that crap. And it was so lame. The players, they're just can we just get this over with? They were so bored. Did you see them? They were just, it was awful. They didn't want to be there. There was no fans there, so obviously they didn't want to be there. So, I mean, that was trash.
Chris says you got to be kidding me.
It was as awkward as those Impractical Joker scenes Like when they make Sal like do something stupid, you just can't
Oh,
watch. I turned it
They make
off.
Sal-
I
yeah.
couldn't watch the dang thing. Like it was so bad.
I haven't watched that show in like 3 or 4 years. It's been a long time.
Bro, it's always on True TV. That's my go-to when there's nothing on.
You know what True TV used to be?
It's about true things.
It used to be Court TV.
Well,
So they would have all these.
It's not anymore.
They had all these.
It's
court
just
shows,
reruns of Impractical Jokers.
among other things.
All right, that's it for me. Those are 2 short ones. So,
All right.
in summary, the Chicago Blackhawks suck, and so do the Tampa Bay Lightning.
So you know what? I'm gonna add to your segment a little bit. Actually, I'm gonna
No
have
way.
my own. You got to be kidding me, because it kind of goes hand in hand with my shining star of the week. So, in the Athletic, they had the top 155 players under the age of 23. Right?
Oh, was it? Oh, I know where this is going, but go ahead.
So the shining star of the week obviously is who would have figured it would be Miro Heiskanen.
But wasn't Cale Makar ranked higher than him?
Shush.
Yeah, that's how stupid that list was. That's why the Athletic sucks.
Well, they had Miro Heiskanen at number 14. So, yay, shining star of the week. Go Miro Heiskanen.
He is way higher than that.
Yeah, he should be.
played
He's played way more minutes.
That's why the Athletic is Garbo. Like, anyone who watches hockey and is objective, like, isn't an Avs fan or a Stars fan, they'd say Heiskanen is, like, 50 times better than Cale Makar, at least. In puck movement, in overall defense, in awareness, in stick checks, in all of it. Like, there's no comparison. Cale Makar's beat red face couldn't stand a chance. Couldn't stand a chance. Have you seen how red his face gets? That alone should have put him lower than Miro Heiskanen. Like, he could have been way better, but just his stupid little tomato face would have put him over the edge, and that would put him at 30th at highest.
So, Miro got 14th, and
garbage.
Guess who's right above him? This is the you got to be kidding me part of the shining stars of the week. Cale Makar, number 13.
Whatever, dude.
I think the hype will go down after a while.
Because Makar sucks.
And then even above Cale Makar, who won the Calder Trophy, they've got Quinn Hughes at 11.
Quinn Hughes is even worse than Cale Makar. Cale Makar could beat him with his tomato face. I don't understand what it is about Quinn Hughes. Like, he's... Okay, honestly, I think he is better than Makar. Like, he's an overall defenseman. But I think Makar's a better puck handler and puck mover. But, like, I don't get the hype with Hughes. It honestly, when I watch him, like, he's good. He's a good defenseman, but like he's barely
a number 1 defenseman.
He barely seems like a number 2 to me whenever he's playing. Like,
no.
I don't know, man. He seems like an average number 1, a good number 2. Like, it doesn't impress me that much. But anytime you watch Heiskanen, it's crazy impressive. Like, all of his things are above average. They're all elite level skills. So I don't get it.
So for the 3 of those guys, here's an interesting thing is that Miro is actually the tallest. He's 6'1". Makar is 5'10", and Quinn Hughes is 5'10". Cale Makar is 5'11". So they're all kind of like right there, but Miro is the tallest out of the 3. That's kind of interesting. Now, here's the problem that I hate about, the NHL and all the hype that all of these other players get is that it's all about offense, even with defense. Like, they completely ignore the defensive side of the puck, which is what Miro is good at. He puts up points, and he's that good at the defensive side of the puck. And honestly, that's why Cale Makar won the Calder trophies, because he had all of these points. What about Quinn Hughes? Quinn Hughes is a better defensive defenseman than Cale Makar is, in my opinion.
Yeah, and Miro Heiskanen does everything that Makar does, and he does it better while taking no risk, like, at all. Like, there's
and not playing the minutes that Miro does.
yeah, like I've seen Heiskanen make like one bad pass. Like he doesn't really make poor choices. He always makes the right decision, and like I don't get it. I feel like those people aren't watching and they just look at numbers.
And then he also helps out his teammates when they make stupid mistakes. It seems like he's always there
because he's always on the ice.
I know. So anyway, that's my shining star of the week. Go Miro, I love you. Never leave Dallas. I don't think he ever will. Do you ever think he will?
We better not let him.
I know, right? Yeah.
Jim Nill would be fired on the spot.
Okay,
I'll fire Jim Nill if he does that.
All right, so we talked about a lot of Dallas stuff. So
we are a Stars podcast,
right?
That's correct.
We would be dumb not to mention this because this is huge news, just through the NHL. So, huge.
Yeah, I already made the joke. Continue.
I'm just copying you because I can't. Shut up. Okay. Anyways, so Evander Kane of the San Jose Sharks. He files for Chapter 7 bankruptcy.
I declare bankruptcy. I'm sure that's what Chapter 7. I
knew that was coming. Yes.
I'm sure Chapter 7 just means he stood up and said that. So
exactly. Where's Michael Scott? We need him. So for Patrick Kane, he filed this Chapter 7 bankruptcy, and it was dated January 9th. Okay, so that's important to know. So he, according to the document that he filed, the Chapter 7 bankruptcy forms, he has liabilities of, get this, $26.8 million. $26.8 million.
That's bad.
How is that? How does he even get there?
Well, you get a lot of credit from the banks because you make a lot of money, and then you spend it all, and then they give you more because you make a lot of money. You know how finances work, Ryan. You got that? You know how lines of credit work?
Yes, that's why I don't have any debt. Thank you.
Yeah.
I know how it works.
Yeah, and you're not making millions of dollars, so.
I'm a band teacher. I'm lucky if I'll make $100,000.
But anyway, moving on. I don't really feel bad for him, honestly. I mean, you're making millions of dollars and you can't hire a broker or something, like,
or an accountant
or something, anything,
or listen to he's got to have somebody in his back pocket that's telling him, you should do this, you should do this, you should do this, do this. Maybe even a player on maybe Joe Thornton in the background while he was there was sitting there telling them, hey, you need to make sure that you got money in your back pocket, or hey, put it in this 401k or this 403b or something,
Yeah.
He had to have somebody telling him that, right?
Yeah. So money-wise in sports, so a lot of people always say like, oh, athletes get paid too much. Well, I don't think they get paid too much. They're getting their fair share of the profits that the league makes. But like, if they spend it all and lose it all, I'm not going to feel bad for them either. They're being stupid. You're making millions of dollars to play a game. Like, keep the money safe. Like, you deserve the money because that's what people are willing to pay to watch you. But like, don't be an idiot. So
okay,
that's it from me.
So regardless of the fact that he filed for bankruptcy and he owes $26.8 million, here's the thing that is getting everybody. So this is what it says in the document. It says, debtor may terminate his contract and he may opt out of the season as allowed under current rules because of health concerns given the recent birth of his first child. Should he terminate his contract or opt out at a point in the season, debtor will not receive his salary. So he's just going to not play. Basically is what that sounds like.
Probably.
Now, as of now, he hasn't, had a statement or anything that said he's not going to play the season.
Which is fine. I mean, that's pretty understandable.
Yeah.
He just lost all of the monies. So
here's what I don't understand is that, so when they came out with the protocols and the return to play for this season, the opt-out deadline for players to opt out of the season was December 24th.
Well, I think this
like
is
said,
I think this is a different clause in the contract, right? This is like a clause in his contract that allows him to do that, I thought.
I don't know, maybe there's something there that we don't know about that he's got in his thing, but I just don't see how he can, like, legally. If he doesn't have a clause like that, and his thing just says, oh well, he's just going to opt out and not play and not get paid. He was given $3 million on July 1st as a signing bonus for being with the San Jose Sharks. So if he does opt out and find a way to opt out, does he have to give that $3 million back? Surely he's already spent that money, right?
I'm no accountant. Probably.
Right.
I mean, he's spent more money than he has, so.
Right. So logically, that would just make sense to me. But
in conclusion, everybody, if you get lots of money somehow, don't be a dumbo.
Right. So seriously, and it's not like he's the only one that's ever happened to file bankruptcy. Other players in the NHL, Jack Johnson, he's still playing. He filed for bankruptcy a while back.
He's one of the more higher profile athletes that's done it though in like pro sports recently. Because pro sports, it used to happen a lot more, but like recently there's been like people get like actual good people to help them and stuff. But like if you're not smart enough to get someone to help you with that, then I mean, you're on your own, dude. I mean, you got every opportunity when you have that much money to find somebody to help you out. So,
well, and it's not just hockey. I mean, here's some names. You'll like one of the names. The fact that he was bankrupt. Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield, Michael Vick, Vince Young.
Bet.
I figured you liked that. And there's a couple others on here, but like it's not just hockey. I mean, these guys get a bunch of money and then they don't know what to do with it. So
yeah, it happens, but it shouldn't. And I don't feel bad for him. I feel like, I mean, he's gonna get money back. He's not in trouble. Like, he's gonna find a way to get money. He's not gonna work at a Sonic or anything. So
yeah, seriously.
Nobody needs to like pray for him or anything, but like sucks for him. But that's crazy.
All right. Well, we got about 20 seconds. Anything you want to say, Chris, before we say goodbye to the peeps?
Thanks and gig 'em.
Well, that's going to do it for us. Catch you next week at 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 Central. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And you can also follow our YouTube channel where we post daily hockey content videos. We'll catch you guys on the flip side.